This is Kugan Cassius for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined, as always, by Eddie Hearn.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Actually had a weekend off, no event, which was a little bit strange. I was, I know I saw you in Riyadh, but I was absolutely out of the game, to be honest with you. It took me about 48 hours to recover from that trip, Times Square, then Riyadh, and then um, had a low-key week, a few meetings, watched the boxing on Saturday, and now we gear up for a massive week at the Copperbosh. Got to do the Wednesday, we've actually got the Fabio Wardley Justice Huni presser in Ipswich at 1 o'clock. And then at 6 p.m., we've got the Johnny Fisher Dave Allen press conference. And then we get straight on the plane for the July 12th press conference in New York with Shakur Stevenson. And then back to the Copper Bosch for Johnny Fisher on Saturday night.
So you've got a bit of a week, basically.
Always a bit of a week.
I know. I feel sorry for you, honestly. Like it's mad. Yeah, I
But
do.
looking forward to Saturday. We got like 100, tickets left for the Copper Box. Going to be an incredible atmosphere. We know the first fight was incredible, and I know it kicked off the night in Riyadh on the Fury Usyk card, but it was even a great atmosphere in there. But in London, that fight would have been unforgettable, and I think you're going to get the same kind of drama on Saturday night.
Did either of these fighters need convincing for this rematch, or were they both up for it from the start?
No, I mean I think look, Johnny's got more to lose than Dave Allen. Really, I think Dave would even admit that he's had an up and down career. Dave's very talented, and when he's on it and when he's training, he's very difficult to beat. Um, Johnny is still raw, much less raw now than he was going into that fight, but sells a huge amount of tickets every time he fights. So Johnny really didn't have to take this fight. He could have had an 8 rounder, he could have had an easier fight. He won the fight. I know some people think he didn't, but he had the win, he had the belt, he could have gone and defended that. He's doing the right thing. I truly believe that when you win a controversial fight against someone who we all believe and the team believes that you are better than, and we want you to be performing at levels above them, you should rematch them because it's a massive fight. And we're seeing that on Saturday, over 7,000 people in the Copper Box. It will be incredible. And it's another 50-50 fight. And there's so much to digest and break down about the fight and what the effects of that first fight is having on both guys. And the truth is, I believe Johnny Fisher will win the fight, but I don't think anyone truly knows what's going to go down on Saturday, and that's when you've got a great fight.
You said that Johnny Fisher has more to lose than Dave Allen. Just break down how damaging it is for either fighter to lose that fight on Saturday.
But for Dave, Dave's always up for none, right? Because he's now earning a lot of money. And, he had a lot of tough fights early on in his career for small money. Every fight that he's in now is another chunk to secure his future. If he beats Johnny Fisher, he goes on and he has another big domestic fight or he gets an international name for a load of money. So, but for him, really, this is the back end of his career and every fight is and every payday is a bonus. For Johnny, we're just getting started. And, if he gets beat on Saturday, I don't know, maybe there's the third one, maybe you fight someone else, but he's still got a career ahead of him. But the plan for Johnny is to go and win British, Commonwealth, European titles. And Dave is the gate. I mean, Dave Allen is already better than British title level. But, those he needs to be beating the likes of Dave Allen. And, what will that first fight do? Will it give Johnny Fisher exactly the experience that he needs? Will it dent his confidence? And if you're Dave Allen, you've got to be right fancying it. He's going to be in better shape than he was in Riyadh. He's going to be more confident. And he truly believes he'll knock Johnny Fisher out on Saturday. And it's a massive, massive fight. And it's a huge test for Johnny Fisher. Huge pressure. And I know we talk about, it wasn't quite the same in Riyadh, and yes, but now you've got 7,000 of your own fans going mental. And when he walked, when he boxed Alan Babbage, I think we had nearly 6,000 in there. It was mental. And you remember England were playing that day. It was absolutely wild. And he came out and he was all excited. Bang, crash, bang, wallop. And it was all over in less than a minute. So experience is going to now play a big part on Saturday. And we hope Johnny's learnt enough from that first fight to do a better job this time.
Obviously, if Dave Allen wins, will you work with Dave Allen moving forward, Eddie?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always liked working with Dave. And Dave's been incredibly frustrating over the years because he's had all the ability, but it's kind of taken him now, I don't know, maturing a little bit, or obviously now he has a family, so he's now taking it more seriously. He realizes, the money he's made out of these last two fights is going to put him in a good spot. He could have been done. So Dave's very dangerous, and when Dave fancies it, he's very dangerous, and he fancies it on Saturday.
Is somebody holding your camera? What have
No,
you got? Because it's going like you're not moving, but it's like
yeah, he keeps doing that. Is that? I don't think you've got the new zoom. So
what?
when you move, yeah, it like focuses and stuff like that.
All right,
I'm sitting here in a laptop.
can we lower it or that's
Yeah,
it?
look, see?
If you just done that,
No, I swear on my life.
what have you got? Some
I don't know, but I've noticed it in all the Zooms I'm doing lately. Like, but you said lower it, yeah? And it
what?
moved. So hold on. Lower it. You say it.
Wanker.
No, go on, you
No,
prick. Go on, say it.
lower camera, lower down.
No, hold on, look. Yeah, look.
It's pretty weird actually. If you're not doing anything, that's a bit
No,
weird.
I'm not. I think it's a new. I don't, when I do my Zooms, I don't have someone filming me for the Zooms.
It wouldn't surprise me
That would be big time.
if
I
somebody
think I'm
told you
going to,
like
though.
that.
If anyone's out there who's interested in filming me for my Zooms, then please apply for a job by Matchroom.
Yeah, just run through the undercard. Obviously, you've got some of your kind of next gen stars.
Yeah, George. Yeah, all stepping up now. I mean, George Liddard, who is one fight away from fighting for the British title, he's got a really tough fight on Saturday. Kieran Conway is fighting for the vacant British middleweight title.
Yeah.
We've already agreed with Kieran and George Liddard. If they both win on Saturday, they will meet for the British middleweight title, which will be a fantastic fight. Jimmy Sains goes for his first title, Southern Area title. Um, Shannon Ryan back on the card as well. Laylee Buttigieg as well. Everyone sold a huge amount of tickets for the card. Really, really looking forward to it, and can't wait.
That is this Saturday night at the Copper Bosch box, live on the Zone, obviously. Um,
Also, one other thing I should say is John Hedges' fight on Saturday has been upgraded to the English title.
okay.
Really good cruiserweight fight as well. So big fight for him.
Yeah, and under the guidance of Ricky Hatton now. So,
Correct. Big first fight.
yeah, just going back to last week, not the weekend gone, like the Saudi weekend. I think you
Also,
go on.
just because it's coming to my head, I hate missing anybody out for not going through the whole card. Taylor Bevan back again. Taylor Bevan done 200 tickets from Southampton, and one of our best young prospects worldwide. Sorry, go on to
Oh,
Shane.
chuck them in. If you remember anyone else you've forgotten, which you
No,
probably
no, that's it.
chuck them in.
That's every fight.
Um, yeah, you kind of slipped off, but understandably, like we finished
Oh,
the
in Riyadh.
early
Yeah,
morning, like it was bright daylight.
honestly, it was like coming out of a club, wasn't it? It was like just daylight, and I arrived in Riyadh at about 10 o'clock. And went straight to the hotel, had a quick sauna and ice bath, put my gear on, and was there for like the first fight of the night at 1. Then Canelo comes out at 7 a.m. or whatever it was. And then it wasn't the greatest fight in the world. And then left there at what was it, 8:15? Oh mate. then went back, had like 3 hours sleep, then went to the airport. It was, oh, I was minging.
What was it timed? Because obviously you guys like Turkey, they had to get over
Oh, it was time for US TV, you plonker.
no, I
What
know,
do
but
you
also
think that Turkey goes, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fight at 7 a.m. because I'm flying in from New York from Times Square so everyone can fight at that time?
well, no, but it's just his show, and I just thought because you guys had to get over as well, and
No.
they
It
might
was
have
it was for the US pay-per-view, prime time US.
okay, all right, Eddie. Um, so that video of you and Shalom was absolutely hilarious. Like a couple of school kids you two were.
He sent me a message after, it was quite funny. He was it's like, it's like a 16-year-old relationship. Like, I hate that we argued tonight. I was like, oh, we didn't argue, but yeah, it was I think it's quite I watched it, but I saw some other stuff. I think it's like you just it's a very different thing than me and Frank. Do you know what I mean? Like me and Frank were like arch rivals,
But
right?
you two never
Like,
got in the same clip together. Argued like that. This is
no, 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 no.
yeah.
But I don't. I mean, obviously Ben's a competitor. He has to be because he's a promoter. I don't look at him at all in the same way that I used to look at Frank. I guess it's because I'm much older as well. And I speak to him a lot. So yeah, sometimes I know that for certain things that he says aren't particularly factual. And I think sometimes, like after that clip, I mean, I don't want to put anyone in it, but the difference is I've never asked to see anything before it's gone out. And I'm not just copying at Ben, but like people won't let things go out before they've seen it. And I find that incredibly painful. And I get it because we're all so accessible, right? And I think there's got to be a little bit of give and take. But I said to him after, like, why do you say some of the things you say? Because you're putting yourself in a shit position. And I don't actually have any animosity towards Ben, but I think actually it's a decent little dynamic for you guys. I mean, and not when I say you guys, I mean the fans. I mean, now me and Frank are pretty friendly, like we're all getting on. Like, it's not really any hatred with Ben, but I'm sure people like back and forth. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I don't really see him in the same way as I used to see Frank, but I don't mind him. I think he's quite amusing, very touchy, like not as in sensitive, but actually grabby, which I find quite. You know what I mean? Like he's like grabbing you and like putting his arms around you and holding you and stuff like
I
that.
did jump at the top of the head. I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, I know. Um, but yeah, it's interesting times, and he's fighting away, and you've got to give him props for that. Everybody's just because someone's on top now doesn't mean they're going to be on top in the future, and doesn't mean they were always on top. So life's like that, and he's riding the wave. Good luck to him.
Just for clarity, absolutely nothing was cut out or edited from that interview. Just so
I
people.
didn't say that.
No, I know you didn't. I just said
People ask to see
no.
things before they approve it. That's what I said.
I'm
I
just
didn't say I didn't say anyone cut anything
I was
out.
just
But
making a point that nothing was edited from that video. Um, yeah, just a word really on Canelo Crawford. Obviously, it was announced
mm.
after the ring. A bit of an anti-climax of a fight with.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, I think you have to. Canelo is Canelo just wants to get paid. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, he wants to be in great fights, but he's not like he got a little bit of criticism from the Skull fight that he didn't do this and he didn't do that. He also walked out of there without hardly getting hit, going, "I've just copped X million. Thank you very much." The Crawford fight would obviously be very different. It's a tremendous fight. Bud has so much self-belief, you know, and dare I say, I think Bud's got to make it a bit of a stinker. Do you know what I mean? Like it won't be anything like the Skull fight, but you know that Canelo doesn't like movers. But and Bud's got to stay out of trouble. But it's a fascinating matchup between two pound for pound great fighters. And I've always leant towards Canelo Alvarez because of the size. I think it's always a massive advantage. But he's getting on, and he doesn't like fighting movers. So it's going to be interesting.
You put a press release out today announcing the signing of Tia Eaton, if that's how to pronounce her name. You're very
Yeah,
excited. Yeah, you're very excited about this one, Eddie.
I think, to be honest with you, I think this is probably. I mean, there was three, almost like three musketeers, right? Who are, I think, three of the best young amateur fighters I've ever seen. Leo Atang, Adam Maka, and Tia Eaton. They're all very young, right? They're all 18 years old. And we never really sign fighters that young. Diego Pacheco, one of them, but very rarely. I just, when I watch these fighters fight, whether it was Adam Maka, who is so explosive, such a huge puncher, so exciting. Leo Atang, who I just feel like is the carbon copy replacement and you know, um, the guy to fill Anthony Joshua's boots in the heavyweight division, and Tia Eaton, who is sensational. I mean, firstly, never lost as an amateur. Former kickboxer. I mean, she's all kinds of different martial arts, and she's never lost in any fight. And she also won the world under 19s, I think 17. Just like a huge puncher, huge talent. And we're not really looking, if I'm honest, to recruit female fighters at the moment. I think we've got a great stock of fighters. I think it's a very interesting time, but sometimes an opportunity comes up that you got to grab with both hands. And I think you are going to love watching this girl fight. I think she is going to be a massive star.
And we'll make her debut on.
Upcoming. So Leo, Adam, and Tia's announcement will all be a debut announcement will all be in the next 2 weeks max. Some in June, some in July, maybe first week of August, but some very exciting news for those. And it's just our commitment to making sure we have the best young talent in the sport.
Look forward to it. Did you see Chris Eubank Jr.'s interview with Stephen Bartlett?
Yes. I
Right.
mean, I didn't watch it all. It was an hour and 42 minutes long, but people sent me certain clips of it that I watched.
Okay. So obviously there's a segment where he was specifically talking about yourself and yeah, his future brother-in-law, Frank Smith, labeled you as dangerous and
Like that.
yeah, and said that you and Frank Smith had kind of blocked and tried to block him in the business, etc. But some really strong comments from you, Bank.
I quite liked it. I was waiting for what word he was going to use to describe me. And when he said dangerous, I was like, yeah. No, I mean, look, it's obviously a very delicate, you talk about almost like personal stuff for young Francis. So I'm not gonna talk too much on it. But one thing I'll say this about is this. Probably the word least suited for Frank Smith is dangerous, right? Frank Smith is the straightest operator you will ever meet. If you honestly think that Frank Smith would try to block or derail the career of Chris Eubank Jr., like honestly, he's got enough on his plate without that. We've never, you know, like I'm different, right? And I've never tried to derail the career of Chris Eubank Jr. I gave him an opportunity once to have a big fight, and we've never really worked together. We had a couple of other chats leading up to the Conor Benn fight where I met all of his team, but we couldn't get anything going. Like, you got to really rate yourself to think that we would really spend our time trying to derail your career. Never, ever. And certainly not Frank Smith. Certainly not. Forget the situation. he just ain't got that in him, Frank. You know, Frank. I mean, it's just not. And also, it's very awkward for him. And the other thing, it's like, oh, he was sitting there and he was just wishing defeat on me. Frank's not like that either. Frank has no emotion for boxing at all, right? So, as some of our fighters, managers call Frank, spreadsheet Frank, right? Frank is the bread and butter numbers of the business. I'm the loon, right? I'm the one who's all emotion. I'm the one whose head falls off. I'm the one that wants to spend too much money because, oh, I like a fighter and we're on this journey together. So don't, did I want Chris Eubank Jr. to lose? Fucking yes. I wanted Conor Benn to win so bad, so bad. And of course, for Frank's position, yeah, Conor Benn's with Matchroom, but Frank's not that guy that sits at fights just like jumping up and down like a loon. I want this so bad. He's just like, he just gets on with it. So yeah, I was again like, it was quite. I sent it to Frank straight away. I thought it was quite amusing, but it was like he was like, "Oh, what did he say? I'll never talk to him. Never, never talk to him." I don't know. But anyway, look, that's all.
Yeah,
You know,
Eddie, I know this is probably, and listen, if Frank wants to talk about this, we'll speak to Frank about it. But because it was interesting to hear Eubank's comments about at one point they were right and they spent time around Christmas, etc. So at some point in their relationship that changed. Did things change when like he went on the assault and called you all scumbags? Was that a turning point in?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I think this is stuff for Frank, to be honest with you. But I think that was a like Frank's reputation in the industry is second to none. In fact, so is Matchroom's, to be honest with you. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm probably not everyone's cup of tea. I get it. But we're straight as they come, right? But Frank is super straight. And I have to be honest with you, when Eubank went on the rampage with the scumbags, Warren was absolutely fuming, right? The only person who was bothered, the other person that was bothered, was Frank. I've actually not seen him that upset before.
Yeah, it was visibly you could see in Frank's face he
Yeah.
was absolutely raging at the table.
But listen, it is what it is. Um, I'm sure you'll catch up with Francis this week, but it's you're bordering on the personal stuff, so I think that's you know, one for him. But it's a unique situation, let's say that.
And has there been any more talks about possibly whether we're going to see a rematch or
Not really. I mean, the only thing that we've heard is obviously Eubank, Ben, end of September at Spurs. That's what His Excellency announced. That's what we've kind of got in our head. We're gearing towards, and we'll see. I guess over the next few weeks what materializes.
can you say categorically that the weight A will be at 160 and the rehydration will be £10? Is there any room for movement?
All I can tell you is that that's what our contract says.
But would you be open to discussion about, especially the rehydration?
Honestly, like there's always conversation. I'm never against having a conversation. Um, when Eubank weighed in on the hydration, he had all his clothes on and one of his Rascal Louis Vuitton jackets. He was wearing it and he was half a pound under. So he would have had at least 2.5 pound, probably £3 to spare on the rehydration. So we'll see. But obviously we got, I don't want to, people get antsy and start, I saw Adam Booth the other day and like talk about rehydrate. Like Adam Booth, who I get on with very well, he's probably one of a select group of people that will always ensure that his fighter is protected. And if Adam Booth was in our position, there is no way he would have let his fighter at 147 go up to fight a middleweight without a hydration clause. He would never have done it. But all these people come out, oh, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible that that was asked. You do realise that what happens when you make a fight and you do a deal is, like in this instance, we kind of had a conversation and someone said, would you ever fight Eubank? I know he's 2 divisions above you. And the answer was, we would, but we would obviously want to make sure there was a hydration clause because we don't want a situation where Conor Benn's fighting a guy that's 20 or 25 pounds bigger than him in the ring. So if there was that, we would probably make the fight. There's always this agenda that's, oh, they pushed and they pushed. It's like Eubank was like tied up, right? And we had like we were waterboarding him or something and saying, you must sign now, Chris. It's just like, guys, if you want to do this fight, this is probably how it would have to work for us to accept it. That's it. And Eubank thought, yeah, it's a load of money. And I'm a 160 fighter. I don't think I'll put £10 on either. And I think I'll win. I'll take it. That's how it works.
Do you think if this fight happens, no, if it doesn't happen, do you think we're unlikely to see it happen then? Because we assume that Conor Benn will kind of drop down in weight and then he's not likely
Yeah.
to go back up again, is he?
Yeah. I don't know. Conor Benn's only going to go up in weight from here in terms of from 147. So over the years, as he gets older, he's going to move through the divisions. He will 100% end up fighting at 154. I don't think he'll fight at 160, but who knows? I mean, he's just had a great fight at 160. Um, but I think if we don't do the rematch in September, it may pass us by because I don't think Eubank will be around that long.
Obviously, one of the options at 147 was the Barrios fight, who's now fighting Pacquiao.
Don't get me started on that.
Go on, hit me.
No, it's just I mean, it might as well be for the Misfits World Championship. Like, don't get me wrong, Pacquiao is a legend, but how can you sanction a fight with a guy that hasn't had a professional contest for what, 5 years? He's 46, 45, one of the two, right? How can you sanction that fight like the WBC for the world title? Anyway, is what it is.
So obviously, yeah, you're
Know
right.
what? Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not just going, oh, it's not fair because when I talk about it, I just get. But about 3 years ago, or yeah, 3 years ago, we were approached to do Conor Benn against Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah,
Right? Do you remember?
yeah, right.
Right? Yeah. And it went on for about 6 months or so. Right? We were talking. I got absolutely ridiculed for talking about that fight. Right?
Right.
Are you right? Conor Benn, who'd never really beaten anyone at that stage, his best win was Chris Algieri, right? Who was going to fight Manny Pacquiao for no world title, just like an international welterweight contest. That is a disgrace. You should be banned, Hearn. You should actually be ashamed of yourself, right? I'm like, blimey. I mean, I know he's getting on a bit, but he's still Manny Pacquiao, and Conor hasn't fought for a while, and his best win's Chris Algieri. Now you're talking about 2 or 3 years after that, where he's boxed in a couple of exhibitions and clearly is just physically not anywhere near where he used to be, fighting a world champion. So let's see the response. And I'm not going to sulk about it, but it's just not fair. Why is it one rule for me and one rule for the others? No.
Let me ask you a question, Eddie. Pacquiao's to beat Barrios. Yeah.
Mm.
Are you telling me that you wouldn't consider a fight for Conor Benn
Yeah, yeah, but
against Pacquiao then?
will never beat Barrios in a million years, number one. And I don't even rate Barrios. But yes, if Barrios went, if Manny Pacquiao went and had a big win in boxing, then of course I'd put him in with our guys. And he was WBC world champion. But he won't, and he shouldn't be fighting. And he certainly shouldn't be fighting for the world title. But of course, I'm not going to sit and go, oh, no, it was disgraceful that he fought Barrios, so I'm standing firm and not letting any of my fighters fight him. It's a fucking fight game, mate. I just think it's a joke.
All right. Could you do that crying thing? It's good. Right, let's move on to Anthony Joshua. Spoke to Joshua for half hour actually. He done quite the
I know.
in Saudi,
That
actually.
was funny. It was so funny, actually. So we had a really good chat and we had a meeting with His Excellency and Dr. Rakan and he confirmed to me that week. So just to basically, because I now it's out there, I can tell you. Going into the Dubois fight, and this is not uncommon. He had a little niggle in his elbow. Nothing that affected him in the fight. Sparring was great, blah, blah, blah. In the Dubois fight, he aggravated it, right? To a point where it was quite a bit worse. Again, like no drama. Then everyone said, "Oh yeah, rematch in February." It's like, "Oh, he won't be ready. He's got a little couple of little niggles." Oh, well, what a bottle job! Wow, that's unbelievable. It's like, okay, right, whatever. I said he won't be able to return to training till probably January. Right? Comes back in January, starts training, not great. So it was like, look, why don't you just have 10 to 12 weeks off, etc. Didn't want to have an operation on it. Had all the rehab. Went back to camp again, I don't know, March or whatever it was. And still no good. Went to see a specialist. 4 to 6 of doing this, 4 to 6 weeks doing this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, done that. Goes back in. No. They turn around and say, you're going to have an operation. Nothing major. Keyhole, clean up, blah, 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 blah. I said to him and then he told me that last week. So when I bumped into him in Riyadh, I said, mate, I think you should do a little statement or something that you're going to have this operation. Because every interview I have, I get asked, what's happening with AJ? And I can't really say. He goes, no, I will. I'll do something around when I have the operation. Anyway, on the way back to the hotel, all of a sudden is your interview and he's telling you that he's having an operation on his elbow. So that is what's next. And I think that's
This month.
this week. Yeah, this week or next week. So nothing major. I think 4 to 6 weeks recovery. He's only going to fight once this year. It will probably be September or onwards now. And that will kind of also let us see what happens with Dubois Usyk and potentially more importantly, what happens with Mr. Fury. So I don't mind the delay. Would have liked him to fight twice this year, but he will just fight once.
So yeah, I mean it kind of makes sense now with that situation with his elbow to wait what happens on both fronts of that. Be interesting times. What's the? I mean, there was reports of a two-fight deal being discussed with Turkey. Eddie, what
Yeah,
can you tell us about that?
yeah, that's what I mean, obviously, that was what the meeting was about. I think obviously His Excellency would love to see the Tyson Fury fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing, and His Excellency wants to make the biggest fights. So um, I think it's just a case of, is it going to be Fury this year? Is it going to be Dubois if he beats Usyk? Is it going to be another contender? But the kind of road was set for one fight this year and then one fight in the spring of 2026. Where's the time going? 2026.
It's mad. Did you hear that Tyson Fury had bought some new boots and shorts?
I saw your interview with Spencer. He's going to come back, isn't he? Let's be honest.
The tweet the other day was like, "The brain's ticking, isn't it?" And well, the one he wrote to
You
second.
know what it is, yeah? Is Fury's got a lot left. Like I thought he performed really well in those Usyk fights. I thought they were two very close fights, and he lost to the pound for pound number one. The first fight, I feel like without the 10-8 round and without that shift swing, and you have to give props to Usyk, that fight was going to be razor close, you know? And I just think like he must be absolutely caked. right? So, but it's a lot of money to fight AJ. But more importantly than that, for Fury, I just think he loves the big occasions like that. And I think he'll watch like Ben Eubank and just think, you know, it will be something very special, very special.
We shall have to wait and see. Um, so are you announcing more shows very shortly?
We have got a major announcement happening. If everything gets done, there'll be a big announcement on Thursday for a fight in July.
How major are we talking?
It's a big night of British boxing. Big. And then face off at the Copper Bosch on Saturday night of that fight. Um,
What, two Brits?
yep.
All right, because I've got another question, but I feel like if I ask you it, it might have to do it.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it. Let's see what happens on Thursday. That's for July. And obviously July, we could be going July 5th. And then you've got July 12th is the Ring Magazine event in New York. 19th is Usyk Dubois. And also Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Cafu, big unification. Pacheco against McCumbee as well. Huge night in Texas. And then we're moving on to August. September.
Is that the fight you're announcing? Going to announce?
Are they going to see you on this?
No, of course not.
All right. Yeah.
Get up. They can't see me on this. It's all about you, baby. All right, that's interesting. All right, that's
Then we
interesting.
got, what else we got? We got May 17th this week. And then next weekend, I actually can't wait for next weekend. So it's actually, I think the fight's on Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday, I think. The following Wednesday. Next weekend, I fly to Japan for Sugar Nunez against Rikishi,
Yeah.
which I'm absolutely buzzing for. Because when you talk about away day wins, Sugar Nunez is the bollocks, right? And he's going to go to Japan, knock this Rikishi out in the backyard, and he's going to become a massive Mexican star. So I'm on the plane, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a proper away day gig, that one, isn't it?
Oh no,
Uh,
badges and all sorts. Yeah. Get up.
yeah, yeah. Um, so looking forward to that. We've got a show in Mexico the following week. Gallegos against Co rematch, and also MJ Akmadaliev having a run out before he fights Inoue
Yeah.
in September. And then Sugar Nunez, world champion, and then we'll see what Mr. Kakachi does.
Hmm. Good win for him, wasn't it, against Leeward?
It was good. I mean, I enjoyed the fight. I think two really top blokes, to be honest. I mean, obviously we've worked loads with Lee. He's a great bloke, great fighter. Kakachi, again, so, and I know we've had our back and forths about Nunez and, you know, again, what I said earlier about the Pacquiao situation with me sometimes, like he vacated the title to not fight Nunez. And I know he got more money to fight Lee Wood, but also like now they're talking about him challenging for the world title in Belfast. It's like, well, you were world champion, you just vacated it. But listen, he got good money, he had a good win, and he's on an unbelievable roll. The reason that I was most pissed off is because Kakachi against Nunez is a fucking bloodbath, right? It is one of the best fights that could have been made and potentially could get made, right? But you have to give massive props to Anto. He beat Joe Cordina, Josh Warrington, Lee Wood, and I enjoyed the fight. I thought Kakachi would stop Wood. But after about 4 or 5 rounds, I didn't think he would stop him because I thought Lee looked so much stronger at 130. When he was at 126, he was actually quite fragile. He was a massive puncher, but Kakachi's a massive 130. And I actually didn't see the stoppage coming. And if you actually watch it back, when the round finished, Lee Wood said to Ben Davison, he's knackered. Oh, and they actually they felt like they were getting a bit of momentum, and then he got stopped in the last round. So um, I actually I think Lee Wood can carry on. Like, will he want to carry on? I mean, he's made his money. I think he's it's brilliant. He's gonna have a great life. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we look at doing the Warrington rematch. Those two. I mean, but I thought Lee didn't look far from shot. Shane Anto's a good fighter, big lump at 130. And I saw Frank's rant on the scorecards.
I'm going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I, I just don't. Steve Gray's a very good judge, and I think he's an excellent ref as well. I just don't know how you can like he's a good judge, and he knows boxing. It's not like he's some random judge that a governing body's flown over and you've never seen him before, and he comes up with a 118, 111, and you think, what? Like, he is a very good official. So I don't know. I think sometimes Bellew always goes on about it, doesn't he? About actually talking to the judge after.
That's opening up a can.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe he says, well, actually, and Steve Gray's very uh he's very professional. He speaks very well. I think he would actually do a good job to explain why. Do you know what I mean? And it's subjective, so yeah, it was a very strange scorecard, but I do think he's a an outstanding official.
Okay, just quickly before I let you go. I mean, Frank Warren said he'd been had loose talks or whatever with Billy Joe about potential return. Have you had any conversations with Billy Joe, or is that just Frank?
Not really. I mean, I think I have had a lot of conversations with Billy Joe, but they never really go anywhere. It's like, you know what it is with Billy? I think he doesn't want to come back for a small fight, but for me, you have to come back for a small fight to one, get yourself back into the game, get your weight down, and to prove to everyone that you are back, rather than just coming back from being out. What is it, 4 years this summer?
4 years. Well, now past 4 years now.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, sorry, 4 years just been. But look, Billy's an outstanding fighter. Outstanding fighter. Would he still be the same fighter? Me personally, I'd like to see him have a 10 rounder. But coming back for 10 round money, he's got to buy into the process of it all. I think he can do it. I think what are we now? May. He could come back in September, October, 10 rounds, and a massive fight spring, summer 2026. But it's got to come from here, isn't it?
It's always got to come from there, mate.
Yes.
Right, we're off to the brewery in Romford. We'll try and get this interview out before we go. Half
I'll
five,
see you Wednesday, yeah?
double header on Wednesday, Ipswich, and then yeah, London for Fisher Allen press conference. Have you got
I shall
anything?
be at both. I'll see you there.
You should be at both.
I will be at both.
Yeah. Have you got anything else you'd like to say?
All right, mate. Hope everyone has a great week. Stay positive. And by the way, if you're from Essex and you're not attending the Copper Bosh on Saturday, are you even from Essex?
Bush.
Bosh. See you
Thank
later,
you
mate.
very much, Eddie Hearn. We will see you on Wednesday.
See ya.
Wait.